Hello, everyone. I am Fyruz Khan, and today I have a brand new class for you. So, if you haven't, liked our Facebook page, just type in Fyruz Education Services and like our page. You can also subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Again, just type in Fyruz Education Services. We have around 60 videos. I was, checking out our channel last night, and there are a lot of views that has been generated over the past 2 months. We have been creating a lot of content, so there are 60 videos, and as we speak, we are uploading more videos. The good thing about YouTube is it's all synchronized on a playlist. It's very easy to find, convenient. So subscribe to our YouTube channel. Right. We shall start very soon. Let me close some of the tabs. I don't want to be disturbed. Right. So, as you can see on the picture, there is this man who is trying to fix a wooden floor on the board, right? Now, if whether it's a wooden floor or tile, when you're producing it, you need to know the cost of each tile or each floor. If this is a wooden floor or if this is a wooden tile, you need to know the cost of each of them. Okay, so it is quite important to know the unit price, okay, because you have to see how much money has incurred to make one piece of tile or one wooden floor, and then you create a price for the consumer. Let's say for this wooden tile, one piece of wooden tile costs you, let's say, $2 to make. You're going to charge $3 or $4 or $5 for the customers, right? So knowing the cost is so important because it helps you to set a price for your target customer. Okay, so if you're making anything, it can be a wooden tile, it can be a normal tile, it could be a phone, it could be a headphone, it could be a book even. So to know the costs are important because if you don't know the costs, you won't be able to set a price for your consumers. Also, let's say you want to change the material or raw materials of the wooden tile. Now, if you change the material of the wooden tile, of course, the costs will also differ. So, how much different is it going to be? Will it increase your profitability? Will it lower your profitability? Okay, what is going to happen, even in terms of quality, what's going to happen. So managers needs to know the cost of everything. Even if you change the material, how is it going to affect, what were the sales in the past, how did you do now when you changed the materials, or how was it in general, for this season or for this year or for this quarter, right? So all these things are quite important because products, the way you make products change all the time. Okay, this time I've made this product using aluminum, next time I want to use glass. So if you want to use glass, how is that going to impact your cost? Will it increase your profitability or will it lower your profitability? We need to look at that, right? For example, iPhone wanted to make a phone with all back curved glass. They couldn't make it at the end because it was very expensive and they switched to aluminum body. Okay? So, yeah, knowing the costs for managers are so important, because if you don't know the different costs, you will not be able to offer um, a price for your consumers, right? Now, that brings me to our next topic. If you have any questions, guys, you can just comment on the comment section. It's a beautiful morning. It is very cold today, um, but let's get on with it. Now, think about a factory. What does a factory do? A factory makes products, right? A factory is involved in making products. Therefore, costs are associated with factories. When you think about factory, you think about making products. There are raw materials, making materials for consumers, making, processing goods, and making into a finished good for your consumer. Costs are associated with it, right? When you make products, when you make materials, when you make spare parts, costs are associated. Okay, you need to buy aluminium for, let's say, $1,000, but factories are not responsible in handling cash or generating revenues. Yes, they generate revenues, in such that, they make product, and when you sell that product you get revenues, but they're not directly involved in handling cash or generating revenues. So therefore a factory can be called a cost center. Now, a cost center is a place where costs are involved. You can allocate cost, you can charge cost, but they're not responsible for revenues, or they're not responsible for investment decisions. They're responsible in making the product. So that's why costs are associated, right? It does not directly add to the profit. So there are no revenues. So factory is a good example. In manufacturing businesses, you have products, departments, particular processes. Um, in a hotel, it can be a conference section, right? Costs are associated, but a conference unit does not handle cash or does not generate revenue. If you think in terms of a school, let's say a department, the science department, there are costs involved in a science department. You need to buy books, you need to hire teachers, you need to buy resources. But that department, the science department, directly is not involved in generating revenues, or handling cash. Costs are allocated, but not revenues. So these things are called cost centers. A factory is a very good example where costs are associated with, because you're making products. Now, when you're making products, costs will be associated, but they're not responsible in handling cash or generating revenues. There we go. Now, let's go into the next segment. Now, think about a Starbucks, a Starbucks franchise or a shop altogether. Okay, or think about a mouse or a DSLR or even this pencil or this iPad or AirPod. Okay, now these things are changed from a Starbucks franchise or a product like the AirPod or the mouse or the DSLR. In these cases, costs are charged, costs are allocated, yes, because in order to make these products or chain shop or franchise shop, there are costs involved, but they're also directly responsible in generating revenues. So both costs and revenues are associated with such kind of products. Okay, in a Starbucks chain shop, you make the coffee, you sell the coffee. Okay, AirPods, yes, it took a lot of money to make the AirPods. There are costs. There are costs associated, but when you sell this product directly, you are handling cash. You are responsible for revenue. It can be a mouse, it can be a DSLR, it can be this notepad, or it can be this pencil. So different products, okay, can be that, and they are known as profit centers. So profit centers are centers where both costs and revenues are associated. Example, it can be a Starbucks chain shop, it could be an AirPod, different product categories, a mouse or an iPad. Okay, so profit centers are sections of a businesses where both costs and revenues can be allocated. Okay, so there we go. Some examples: each branch of a chain shop, each department, or it can be different products in a company. A company may produce five, six, seven categories of products, and each product can be a profit center. Why? Because in these products, costs can be charged and revenues can also be allocated. Okay, because these product is responsible for generating revenues and taking investment decisions. I hope you're understanding to what I'm saying. Very important, basic accounting, right? There are a lot of messages that are coming in. Let me just check if I have. Okay, that's Arza. Arza, I hope you're understanding everything. Yeah, everything's great. So let's go ahead and let's talk about it. Okay. Why do businesses divide operations into cost centers and profit centers? So you might ask that, okay, why do we have cost centers and profit centers? Because managers and staff will have a certain targets towards to work towards too. Because when you're working in a business, especially in a big business, there may be a lot of units, there may be a lot of departments, and dividing them into profit and cost centers will help you to understand how each unit are doing. Okay, so they will have managers and staff will have a targets. Okay, the manager A can look at this section, at this profit center, or at this cost center. This is the target. This is how we did in the past. So we should do this much. Um, and you can compare your actual performance, that this is what we did last year, this year, this is what we have, and you can compare whether you're doing good or bad, right? And as I told you, for each unit, managers are involved. Let's say for this profit centers, manager A is involved, so you can check the performance of manager A. How did he do with this department, right? How did he do in the past, and what's his performance like this year? Okay, and therefore you can promote him, demote him, replace that manager altogether, or take necessary steps, or provide training too. Okay, so this is why costing methods are so important. And lastly, work can be monitored. Okay, for each unit you can look at managers and workers, how they're doing. So these are the four reasons why business divides their operation into cost and profit centers, because managers and staff will have a sense of purpose, will have a targets towards to work to. Okay, you can compare your actual performance with the target. Okay, my target was to sell 1,500 units of these, but I sold 1,400. What happened? Why I couldn't achieve the target? Okay, and you can check the individual performance of managers of this product firm, or this center or that center, and you can monitor, control, make decisions based on that. Right. However, there are some problems. Now, when you divide the business into cost and profit centers, sometimes managers feel that, okay, this is my profit center, AirPods, and I just care about this unit. They don't think about the whole business. They just think about their team, their work, their center. And there may be damaging competition between two profit centers, between this and iPad. Okay, our sales was the highest this year, yours was the third. And there can be internal competition, which is not good. Which is not good, because you're not thinking in terms of the overall business. You have to think about the overall business, how the business is doing, and not divide the the overall business into categories and subcategories. This is quite important. There are some costs which are difficult to apportion, or which are difficult to allocate. It can be a variable cost, it can be a fixed cost. I can tell you, for example, electricity bill. There is always a debate on electricity bills. And is it a fixed cost or is it a variable cost? People may say that, yes, it is a fixed cost, but it can also be a variable cost, because electricity bill depends, it changes, it depends on the usage. So how can it be a fixed cost? Because the unit rate is fixed. Let's say the unit rate is uh, 7 taka. 7 taka is fixed, okay, and depends on how much unit you use. That's why it's known as fixed cost. You can also consider it to be variable cost, because it depends on the usage. So you know what I mean. There are some costs which are difficult to allocate and put them into boxes that, this is this and this is that. Um, Lastly, sometimes let's say you have had a bad year or bad day or a bad month. The sales of this is falling. Let's say the sales of AirPods is falling, or sales of this book is falling. Now you don't have anything to do with it. It's falling because of recession or because of pandemic. These are external factors that are not under your control. You haven't done anything. Okay? So these are some of the problems. The first problem is managers may just pay attention to their profit or cost center and think that is only their work, and they may ignore the overall business, and they may have damaging competition between each center. There are some costs which are very difficult to allocate, like electricity bills, whether it's fixed or variable. Um, and then sometimes good or bad performance does not depend on you. It may happen because of an external factor. Right. If you have any questions so far, do not hesitate to put it down on the comment section. We have a great class going on, and we should not take much to finish the lesson today. So before we move ahead, I want you to introduce to different concepts like production overheads. Now, in accounting, when we talk about production overheads, it refers to factory rent, rates, depreciation of equipment power. When we talk about selling and distribution overheads, it relates to warehouse, packing and distribution cost, salaries and sales staff. When we're talking about administration overheads, we're talking about office rent rates, exclusive salaries. When we're talking about finance overheads, we're talking about interest on loans. Now, you need to know these, how costs are separated and allocated. Production overheads, selling and distribution overheads, administration overheads, finance overheads, right? Now, let's talk about unit cost. When I started this chapter, I told you unit cost is so important. When you're making this product, you need to know the unit cost, the average cost of producing each unit. How much does this cost to make this product? If you don't know the unit cost, you won't be able to charge a fair price for your consumer and for your company as well. Okay? So there we go. Let's say the unit cost of this tie is $25. And if you charge $23, you'll make a loss of $2. So it's very important for you to know the exact unit price. If you don't know the exact unit price, you may charge something very stupid. You may charge something that is not realistic, and you may make a loss. Okay? Uh, let's say it takes $25 to make this tie, and you charge $50. You've made a profit of $25. $25 is your markup. Okay? So when you know the unit price, you can definitely charge a substantial amount of profit, because that's what business is. You need to make profit. So knowing the unit cost is so important, including all costs together. Okay, so unit cost is total cost of making a certain product. Let's say this divided by number of units produced. Let's say the total cost of making AirPods altogether is $1 million. Divide by how many units have you produced, divide that, and you will get a number. Right? An example is given here. So knowing unit cost is so important, because otherwise you won't be able to charge a proper price for your customers, and you may also end up charging the wrong price and end up making loss. Um, think about this AirPod. Okay, now when you're making this product, you have a lot of costs associated that belongs to different categories. For example, you will have wages. There will be a lot of employees and laborers who will spend a lot of hours in order to make this product. You will have materials that will be required to make this product. You will have production cost, people working in the production department. You would have to pay rent, right? It may be office rent, it may be factory rent, it may be, I don't know, warehouse rent, okay? Um, there are transport costs involved because you may have to transport raw materials and the end product from one place to the other. You have administration costs as well, okay? When you take all these costs, wages and materials and production, rent, transport, administration, when you take everything, it'll have a price tag of $160. So what means is we're allocating all costs, we're including all costs, okay? All overheads. We're including direct, indirect, fixed, and variable cost. Including everything, we have a price tag of $160. And when you include all costs together, when you section out all the cost, when you take all the cost from different sections, like wages, materials, production, rent, when you include all overheads, that costs is known as full or absorption costing technique. Full cost is a method where you include all fixed cost, variable cost, and other overhead costs. Okay? And then you apportion them, you divide them, you take the cost from different sections. Okay, let me see how much cost we have in wages, how much cost we have incurred in materials for this product, how much cost we have for rent for this product. You take all the cost, add up, apportion them, and then you have this full or absorption technique. Okay, full or absorption costing. Uh, so you take direct cost, indirect cost, you take fixed cost, variable cost, overheads, you take everything and you have full or absorption costing. Now, the good things about absorption costing is it's easy to calculate, it's easy to understand. Okay, you take all the cost from different sections and that's it. But sometimes it can be complex taking all the costs. Then full cost is good for single product businesses that are small, businesses that only makes one or two products. For example, let's talk about Beats. Now Beats used to be a very big business, right? But then when Apple bought it, they became a small company because Apple probably was using them for some other reason, for research and purpose. Now Beats has become a small company, and Beats makes one or two products a year or probably in 2 years. So Beats can use full or absorption costing because they only launch one or two products in a year or two. So it is not going to be difficult for them to include all the cost. But think about Apple, who makes 9, 10 different kinds of product. Now, if they had to take all the costs for all the products, it would be such a complex process, right? So think about that. So it is full costing, I would say it's relevant for small businesses, for single product businesses, businesses that produces only one or two kinds of product. All costs are allowed. The good thing is that you're not ignoring any kind of cost, because when you're into a business, there can be different costs, and when you include all costs, the chance of making a fair profit, the chance of charging a fair price increases, and that's good for the business, right? Um, and there we go. And as I already told you, full costing is a good basing for price is a good basis for pricing decisions, because you're including all cost, and then you can add a certain percentage. Let's say to make this product, it took me, let's say, $80. I can charge $160 to consumers. So it's a fair profit. You can make a good decision. However, the bad things are the costs can be misleading. Like, we've talked about electricity bills, how sometimes it's difficult to apportion some costs and put them into boxes. Um, Now, if you apportion the cost according to, let's say, a certain method, a certain formula, on this basis, you need to follow that basis all the time. You cannot change the formula. If you're following a certain pattern, you need to follow that pattern always. Okay, you need to follow that way always. So keep that in mind. Then what we have is yeah, it is a very complex process. You have to take all the cost. It becomes complex, it becomes complicated. Sometimes, let's say this product, AirPods, has taken a lot of factory space. That means more costs should be allocated to this product because they take up a lot of factory space. But then it can also be that they use a simple production process. So there's a conflict. How much should you charge? What should you do? So these are the bad things for full costing. Okay, it is very time consuming. It's quite complex. If you're following a certain pattern, a certain formula, you need to follow that. Sometimes the costs can be misleading. So yeah. So for today, we are done. We will stop here. So today we started with this chapter called Cost, which is chapter 32. It's a small chapter. We'll finish it in the next class. Okay. We talked about cost centers and profit centers. What are they? We talked about why dividing into cost centers and profit centers are so essential. And then we talked about the problems. We also talked about the different costs, okay, how they are segregated with one another. And then we talked about the importance of unit cost. We looked at full or absorption costing. So we'll stop here, and then we looked at the good things and the bad things of full or absorption costing. We evaluated a little bit, right? If you have any questions, you can ask me again. We can take your questions. And please do not hesitate to like our Facebook page. Type in Fyruz Education Services. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We have around 60 videos. Subscribe to it. All the videos are very conveniently added on a playlist. It's quite easy to find. Just type in Fyruz Education Services. Thank you very much. I will see you in the next class. Thank you.